Hey guys, my name is Tom Veer. Welcome back to my channel Obscured Crime. Today, I'm going to tell you about a bank robbery so unbelievable that when people first heard it, nobody was ready to believe it was real. Because in this case, a simple hairdresser, a barber, managed to rob an entire bank. And he did it completely alone. He opened 74 safety deposits inside the bank's vault, took out cash, jewelry, and property papers, and then walked out right in front of the bank employees, without anyone even realizing what had happened. He pulled off this shocking, brilliantly planned heist in such a way that all over America it came to be known as a perfect robbery, a perfect crime. How it all started. Our story begins on the morning of April 13th, 1981. In a small town called Barrington, near Chicago, there used to be a bank named First National Bank, which was a branch of a federal bank. Like most big banks at the time, this bank's vault worked on a time lock system. That means the bank manager would set a timer on the vault, so it could only be opened during specific hours. Once the time lock was set and the vault was closed, it could not be opened in between, not even with a key or any other tool. For example, if the bank closed at 5 p.m. and opened at 9 a.m. the next day, it programmed the vault so that for those 16 hours, nobody could open it, no matter what. The same was done on weekends. The vault would be locked on Saturday evening and wouldn't open again until Monday morning. Because of this, everyone believed that any robbery during that locked period was practically impossible. Inside the vault were rows of safe deposit boxes, where very rich customers kept their cash, jewelry, and important documents. To open any one of these boxes, you needed 2 keys. One key stayed with the customer, the other key stayed with the bank's vault attendant. Only when both keys were inserted together would the box open. The shocking discovery on Monday morning, April 13th, 1981. The vault attendant opens the vault as usual after the time lock period ends. Everything looks completely normal. The staff are busy, the vault appears untouched. A little while later, a regular customer comes in and tells the attendant that she wants to open her safe deposit box and keep some valuables inside. The attendant checks her ID, takes her to the vault, and together they go to the customer's box. As per the rules, the customer inserts her key, the attendant inserts the bank's key. But the moment the attendant turns her key, her eyes nearly pop out. The lock cylinder of the box suddenly breaks off and falls inside the box. A small hole appears in the front of the box where the lock used to be. Shocked, they open the box fully and everything inside is gone. All the cash, all the jewelry, all the documents, completely missing. The attendant panics and starts screaming. Hearing her, the bank staff and security guards rush into the vault. They start checking other nearby safe deposit boxes. And what they find makes the ground slip from under their feet. A total of 74 safe deposit boxes in the vault had been broken into and cleaned out. But the most unbelievable part? From the outside, all the boxes looked perfectly normal. Even the broken locks were sitting neatly in place, as if nothing had ever happened. Only when someone actually inserted a key or touched the lock would the lock face fall inside the box. It looked like the thief had deliberately placed those broken lock fronts back into position so that nobody would realize a robbery had taken place. At least not right away. The bank immediately calls the police, and because this was a federal bank branch, the FBI also joins the investigation. The biggest mystery: how did he even get inside? During the investigation, the police and FBI discovered that many of the stolen property papers alone were worth nearly $1 million, apart from the cash and jewelry. But one question is haunting them: how did the thief even get into the vault? There were no holes or cracks in the walls, no tunnels in the floor. The vault door was still locked from the outside. There were no signs of the door being forced open on top of that. Inside the vault they find an old alarm clock, a hammer, pliers, and a bottle filled with urine. These things make it clear that the thief had spent a very long time inside the vault. He didn't leave even to use the bathroom, and he had disabled the alarm system. The more the police look into it, the more confused they get. Forensic teams dust the vault for fingerprints, search every inch, take hundreds of photographs. But they find almost nothing useful. Local newspapers start calling it a perfect robbery, a perfect crime. And for a while, that's exactly what it looks like. Who was behind it? The most shocking truth, when it finally comes out, is this. This so-called perfect crime wasn't done by some expert high-tech gang. It was pulled off by one single man. A hairdresser. His name was William Smarto. By profession, he was a ladies' hairdresser, working in a women's salon and earning decent money. But he was also a professional thief, and he had already pulled off several bank robberies before this one. The problem was, Smarto was addicted to risk and challenge. He didn't steal because he needed money that badly. He did it because he enjoyed outsmarting systems. Most of his jobs he did alone, with only occasional help from his brother, Vincent. The two brothers had a specific pattern. They only targeted banks located in wealthy neighborhoods. Their logic was simple. Rich areas equals rich customers equals more valuables in the safe deposit boxes. That's why they picked the First National Bank in Barrington, a bank surrounded by very rich homes. And that's where this insane plan began. Step 1. Renting a box inside the vault about 10 days before the robbery. William and Vincent walk into First National Bank and rent a safe deposit box. The name and address they give are fake. William is well-dressed, charming, and speaks politely. He makes a great first impression. He quickly becomes friendly with the bank staff, especially the female vault attendant who manages the deposit boxes. Over the next several days, the brothers start visiting the bank frequently, sometimes saying they want to keep something in the box. Sometimes just casually dropping by and chatting with the attendant. Their real goal is to make sure everyone in the bank recognizes them, so that they appear to be regular customers, and at the same time, to carefully observe the vault and its routines. They study what time the vault opens and closes, when the attendant goes for lunch, when she leaves for home, how the customers are handled inside the vault. They also learn something very important about bank procedure. Step 2. Spotting the bank's biggest weakness. William notices a crucial security flaw. When a customer wants to use their safe deposit box, the bank checks their ID before entering the vault. The vault attendant then takes them inside, opens the box with the dual key system, and after that, for privacy, the attendant steps out, leaving the customer alone inside the vault. But when the customer leaves the vault, nobody checks their ID again. No one verifies exactly who came out. In other words, the bank only tracks who goes in, not who actually comes out. This will become the backbone of his entire plan. During these visits, whenever William goes into the vault to use his own box, he doesn't just open his own box. While the attendant waits outside, he also quietly examines other boxes. How are the locks built? What tools would he need to break them? How could he do it without damaging the front? All of this he studies calmly from the inside. Step 3. Smuggling tools into the vault. Now comes the next problem. How do you get tools into a high-security vault without anyone suspecting you? William's solution: use his own rented safe deposit box as a storage locker. One day, he fills a bag with tools, brings it to the bank, and tells the attendant he needs to put valuables in his box. She opens the vault and his box for him and steps outside as usual. Inside alone, he quietly loads the tools into his box. He repeats this over several days. Slowly, piece by piece, his box fills up with screwdrivers, small hammers, metal rods, pliers, and other specialized tools, but he also needs bigger tools, the kind that wouldn't fit even in an empty safe deposit box. Earlier, he had told the bank staff that he was a painting dealer and often needed to store large paintings or big items. So when he walked in carrying big bags, everyone assumed he was just bringing in artwork. Nobody suspects a thing. Step 4. Using the false ceiling, even with his own box full, he still needs a place to hide. Larger tools, flashlights, food, and other supplies for the actual robbery. While examining the vault, he notices something most people would ignore. The vault had a false ceiling above it, and due to poor maintenance, there were some gaps and openings in it. Through those gaps, William could reach into the space above the ceiling and hide things. So he starts stashing big tools, a flashlight, some food and drinks, and anything else he thinks he'll need, all inside the space above the false ceiling of the vault. Now his tools are safely stored inside the bank, waiting for the big night. Step 5. Finding and disabling the alarm system. The bank's security system was designed in such a way that, if anyone tried to break through the walls or floor of the vault using heavy tools, sensors would detect the vibrations or sound, and the alarm would immediately go off. William's plan didn't involve breaking walls or floors at all. He was going to work from inside. Still, he was worried. What if breaking so many locks triggered some hidden sensor? So he needed to disable the alarm system. He first damages an accessible part of the system, something like the sound or vibration sensor. But he's too smart to assume that's the only line of defense. He knows big banks usually have backup alarms hidden elsewhere. So he comes up with a brilliant way to find them. The alarm clock trick. He brings an alarm clock into the bank, sets it for 3 a.m., and hides it in the false ceiling above the vault. That night, when the alarm clock rings at 3 a.m., the loud sound inside the vault area triggers the bank's alarm system. The nearest police unit rushes to the bank, checks all around, finds nothing unusual, and eventually leaves. William is outside watching all this from a distance. Now he's sure there are still hidden sensors connected. His first attempt at disabling the alarm wasn't enough. 2 days later, he goes back in again through normal customer access, and this time carefully locates and disables the remaining hidden alarm components. To confirm, he repeats the test. Again, he sets an alarm clock for 3 a.m. again. He hides it in the false ceiling. The alarm rings at 3 a.m. this time. No police show up. Now William knows with confidence. All the alarm systems connected to the vault are deactivated. The bank is blind. Step 6. Getting locked inside the vault. Now comes the hardest question. How will he actually get inside the vault? For the robbery itself, and stay there long enough to loot it? For that, he chooses a very specific day. Saturday, April 11th, 1981. That morning, William comes to the bank just like any other customer. He tells the vault attendant that he needs to put some items in his box. She takes him into the vault, opens his box, and as always, leaves him alone inside so he can privately store his valuables. But this time, William doesn't leave. He has already noticed something special about this bank's vault layout. The safe deposit boxes are arranged in tall metal cabinets. Where these cabinets end, there is a narrow, hidden gap, either between the cabinets and the wall, or between two cabinets placed at an angle. It's a spot where nobody ever looks, nobody needs to go, and from the vault entrance, it isn't visible at all. William had already tested this area earlier and knew he could fit there. So while the vault attendant is outside, he climbs up onto the row of cabinets and then squeezes himself into this hidden empty space. From the outside, the vault now looks completely empty. After some time, the attendant peeks in, sees no one, assumes William has left, and later, at closing time, she shuts the vault door, sets the time lock for the whole weekend, until Monday, and leaves for home. What she doesn't know is that William Smarto is still inside the vault. Now he has all of Saturday night, all of Sunday, and until Monday morning to do whatever he wants. And nobody can open the vault from outside even if they wanted to. Step 7. The actual robbery. Once he's sure the bank is closed and everyone has left, William climbs down from his hiding spot. He turns on his flashlight and starts pulling out all the tools he had, from his own safe deposit box from the false ceiling above. He also brought specially modified stop bolts, fake metal plugs shaped to look exactly like the front part of the lock cylinder on each safe deposit box. His plan is genius. Break the real lock cylinder inward, into the box, open the box and steal everything. Plug the hole in the front with his fake stop bolt. So from the outside it still looks like there's a normal lock there. He starts working box by box. While doing this, he's extremely careful. He doesn't want scratches or visible damage on the outside surface of the boxes. He collects and cleans up all the metal shavings, dust and broken bits falling on the floor. He takes breaks, drinks coffee to stay awake and alert. He chose Saturday night on purpose, because he knew the bank would remain closed all of Sunday. So he would have an entire day and night without interruption to work at his own pace. By the end, he has broken into 74 safe deposit boxes, cleaned out cash, gold and jewelry, diamonds, and other valuables, property papers. Then, using his fake stop bolts, he reseals the fronts of the boxes so that from a distance, every lock looks perfectly fine. Now, when anyone later tries to insert a key in these boxes, the fake lock front will fall inside, revealing that the lock was already broken. He then puts all his tools back into the false ceiling, out of sight, packs the loot into bags, climbs back up, and hides again in that narrow gap between the cabinets, and he waits. Step 8. Walking right out the front door on Monday morning, April 13th, 1981. The bank opens as usual. The vault attendant comes in, unlocks the vault using the time lock mechanism, and walks inside. Everything appears totally normal. William is watching all this secretly using a small mirror he had placed on top of the cabinet to observe the vault entrance. As soon as the attendant steps back outside the vault, leaving it open, William makes his move. This time he's ready with a disguise. At that time, the bank building had some construction work going on. Many construction workers in dirty work clothes, boots, and caps were walking in and out. Knowing this, William had brought construction worker clothes with him. He changes into them inside the vault. He then climbs down from his hiding spot, picks up the bags full of loot, and calmly walks out of the vault. To anyone watching, he looks just like one more laborer from the construction site, carrying tools or materials. Nobody stops him. Nobody asks questions. He walks straight out of the bank, bags full of stolen jewelry, cash, and documents in his hands. Outside, his brother Vincent is waiting in a car. William loads the bags into the trunk, and just like that, they drive away. All this happens right under the noses of the bank staff and security. No masks, no guns, no violence. Just planning, patience, and confidence. The investigation, a perfect crime. When the robbery is discovered later that same day, the bank and law enforcement are in shock. The FBI and local police photograph every corner of the vault, search for fingerprints, examine the false ceiling, study the locks and fake bolts. They find the alarm clock, the hammer and pliers, the bottle full of urine, and they learn that the alarm system had been deactivated before the robbery. From this, they conclude whoever did this had spent a long time inside the vault. He knew exactly how the alarm system worked. This could only be done by someone who had repeated access to the vault earlier, so the police form a theory. No outsider could have planned this without first renting a safe deposit box in this vault. They then focus their investigation on the 74 victims whose boxes were broken into. They check all their application forms, names, and addresses. They discover that all of them are real customers, except two. Two sets of details, the name and address used to rent 2 boxes, turn out to be fake. The police immediately realize these 2 fake customers are almost certainly the thieves. Using bank staff descriptions, artists create composite sketches of the 2 men. One of them is William. The other is Vincent. But they've already vanished. With no physical evidence strong enough to locate them, the case slowly turns cold. The media calls it an unsolved perfect crime. For about a year, it stays that way. 1 year later, dumb luck breaks the case. About a year later, in another town near Chicago, in another bank, something strange happens. A customer goes into the bank's restroom. Suddenly, a piece of the false ceiling above his head collapses and falls onto him. Shocked, he looks up and feels like there's someone moving around above the ceiling. He immediately informs bank security. A security officer brings a ladder, climbs up, and shines a flashlight into the false ceiling space. He sees dust-disturbed clear signs that someone has been crawling around up there. He gets scared and immediately calls the police. The police arrive and shout a warning into the ceiling. Come out with your hands up or we'll shoot. After a short pause, a man climbs out of the ceiling. That man is William Smarto. When they question him, what he tells them blows everyone's mind. He says that the bank's vault was right next to that false ceiling area. He had already hidden his tools in the ceiling, just like in Barrington, and he had been preparing to pull off another similar heist. The police recover his tools from the ceiling. When they're analyzed, they match the type and style of tools used in the First National Bank of Barrington robbery. On this basis, they also track down and arrest his brother, Vincent. Later, William and Vincent are put in a lineup at First National Bank in Barrington. The vault attendant and other staff immediately recognize them as the same men who had once rented a safe deposit box there. The perfect crime is finally solved. Why did he keep stealing? During interrogation, police learn that William Smarto had robbed multiple banks altogether. He had stolen close to $2 million worth of cash and valuables. They ask him, when you had already stolen so much, why did you keep doing it? Why risk it again and again? William's answer, he was addicted to the risk and challenge. He didn't just want money, he wanted to prove how smart he was by beating security systems. That's why he always preferred to work alone, with only his brother helping from outside. The trial and sentencing. The police file formal charges against William and Vincent for the Barrington First National Bank robbery. During the trial, both brothers are found guilty. They're sentenced to 20 years in prison, but the judge gives them an offer. If they help recover the stolen goods, their sentence might be reduced. William then reveals where he had hidden most of the stolen property. In a pond, underwater, in sacks or containers. When police divers go into the water, they recover bags full of jewelry, documents, and other valuables. By the time all of it is brought to court, the items are corroded, discolored, and smell terrible. But most of it matches the descriptions of items stolen from various banks. From this loot, a significant portion of the valuables from the First National Bank Barrington robbery is recovered. Because of this cooperation, the court reduces William's sentence from 20 years down to 8 years. Aftermath. How one man changed bank security in America later. William explains in detail how he used the false ceiling, how he hid in the gap between the safe deposit box cabinets, how he exploited the fact that banks only checked IDs when people entered the vault, not when they left. After this case, banks across America were forced to rethink their security systems. They stopped using false ceilings in and around vault areas, sealed or filled all hidden cavities and gaps in secure zones, tightened the entry and exit procedures for vault customers. One man's perfect crime changed how an entire country designed the security of its banks. How did you like this story? Tell me in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Obscured Crime. I'll see you in the next video.